Hey guys, I wanted to talk today about electric vehicles and the downgrading of the quality of the American driver. Let's talk about that today in this video. All right guys, so one of my favorite automotive news sources is a website called The Drive, and they published a story about a Tesla driver who rear-ended a police officer and blames Tesla's autonomous driving for the wreck. And it just that and several instances of people with CDLs who apparently don't really know how to drive. I'm not going to make political or racial comments or anything like that there. I'm just saying that there's some folks who have really caused some extremely bad fatal accidents because they just don't have the qualifications. And it's got me thinking, like, electric cars and this whole autonomous driving push that these EV makers are kind of pushing on us. It's really disturbing, and it's highlighted a tendency in our society to rely more on automation, to rely more on the machine than it is to rely on yourself. And so whenever I was growing up, skills were taught slowly over time. Excuse me. Like the first time I backed up a trailer, I was about 11 years old. In the backyard with my grandpa. He had a garden. We need to haul some stuff across the yard. He had me back up the trailer in his old pickup truck, and we loaded it up, and he drove on the main road. But that was the first time I ever started, and it was this little bitty, like probably a 5x5 trailer. That just kind of illustrates how in the normal world people are taught skills, and that's just going away. Now, in order to find out how to back up a trailer, we expect people to be fully licensed, fully insured, have all the right things, have a bonded, licensed, titled trailer before they even pull out of the driveway. And I don't know, it's just the world is just like gone crazy. Like, there's no more skill building exercises. It's all relying on automation. One thing that I learned while, like, I'm going back to backing up trailers because that's like the most relevant thing that is in my mind and related to this channel. I was taught by my dad how to back up the trailer, and taught by my grandpa. Put your hand on the bottom of the steering wheel, look out your mirrors, and pull your hand the way going backwards that you want the trailer to go. So if I need the trailer to go this way, my hand goes this way, and the trailer's tail end will fly around that way. Same thing over here. Took a little bit of doing, but it wasn't long before I was backing up a trailer really easy. Relatively easy, right? Now you've got technology that has completely replaced that skill on half-ton trucks, and I'm thinking specifically in Fords. They have the Pro Trailer Backup Assist or something like that, and you have this little knob, and you twist the knob, and it helps you back the trailer up. Technology is great, all that stuff, help big safety advances and that sort of thing. Whenever I was learning how to drive, though, I didn't have backup cameras. All we had were mirrors and this little move right here where you look over your shoulder. And I don't know how much of that's actually being taught anymore. Our Cadillac Escalade, it has that 360-degree camera view, all the way around. And I find myself relying on that camera more than the skills that I learned in driving. So I have to check myself because I'm like catching myself not looking around. I catch myself just looking at the little screen, looking at the camera. Um, you know, the folks that are relying on these autonomous self-driving cars, yeah, they've caused some accidents, just like this police officer that got rear-ended. And the driver in the Tesla is blaming the self-driving feature of Tesla. No, buddy, you're the driver, supposed to be in control, and guess what? You're responsible. I don't understand this need to blame something else. If you're behind the wheel, even if there is a mechanical failure, you're technically at fault. At least in my state, that's what they teach us. Tennessee. And so it comes down to awareness, skill development, treating people right, and not expecting them to perform outside of their skill sets. There's really nothing stopping somebody from getting a driver's license, going and purchasing a large truck, and going and purchasing a large fifth wheel trailer and taking off without one exam or one skill display. You know, in rural America, we took care of that over time, building people's skill sets. By the time somebody was, you know, a licensed driver when they were 16, they had been driving trucks and cars on the farm, in the back roads, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, long time. And so I think that the quality of driver, you know, we're taking impaired driving and all that stuff out, has just went down the tubes. Today, I can drive anywhere in my country, in my local town, and I will find people staring at their phones while they're supposed to be driving. The skill set is just gone downhill. People are not concerned about the skill of driving anymore. I'm also a motorcycle rider. I don't do a whole lot of that on this channel. I do ride a Honda Goldwing. I really love that bike. But, you know, riding a motorcycle is the same kind of thing. It's a skill that you build over time. And I didn't have a motorcycle whenever I was a kid, so it was something I had to learn as a older teenager into young adulthood. Me and my wife, we started dating whenever I was 16. She was almost about to turn 16, so she was 15. And my father-in-law was a motorcycle guy. And I always wanted to be on motorcycles, loved motorcycles, but never actually was able to get one or ride one. So my father-in-law had like a 200 1980 Suzuki DR200, I think, something like that. That's what he taught me how to ride a motorcycle on. So my father-in-law taught me that. And from the time we had the 200, my skills grew, and I built my skills there. And moved from that bike into KLX 250 dirt bike, and then from the KLX 250 I'm actually moved straight to a 1500 Kawasaki Mean Streak. It was a pretty big jump, but it's a great handling bike, and I'd already built the skill set to handle it pretty easy. My first official bike that I purchased was actually another Goldwing. I purchased a GL 1200. That was my very first I own it myself motorcycle. There's a lot of bike for a relatively new rider, but I picked it up. So today there are people who are buying big baggers and not developing the skills, and you're seeing the consequences of those things. People wrecking their bikes. That's way too much for them. They haven't grown into it and that sort of thing. So this the point of this whole video, I think, is just to talk about the degradation of the skill set of driving, riding motorcycles, operating heavy machinery. It's a skill that we're losing to time, because we're losing the real way people used to learn, and that was from other people over time, slowly, and building up their skill sets, you know. And so Anyway, I hope you guys got something out of that. Hope everybody stays straight out there. Don't rely on this technology to use it to augment yourself as a better driver. I try to look at those cameras as an extra rear view mirror, but I still try to look behind me, look around me, look on my mirrors, check for actual reality instead of relying on virtual reality. And don't use self-driving cars. That's build your skill set, because you never know when you're going to need it. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, leave me a little emoji with a cowboy hat. I'd very much appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Hope y'all have a wonderful day, and y'all take care.